I went to Chicago for the first time, and it wasn't what I thought. On our way to the airport, going to Chicago. My wife is a flight attendant, and one of the perks of her job is non-revenue travel, which is based on standby, which means we get seats that weren't sold to customers. When flying non-revenue, you have to be flexible because you might not get on a flight you wanted based on different factors such as cancellations and last-minute purchases. When flying non-rev, you don't get to pick your seats. We all had different seating, but the person next to my daughter at the window was nice enough to trade seats with me so I could sit next to her as it was her first time flying. After about a 4-hour flight, we landed in Chicago on a connecting flight from Seattle. My first impression of O'Hare Airport was that it's in serious need of renovation. It looks and feels old, and the terminal we deplaned at was very narrow compared to other airports and felt like a huge hallway with limited seating at the gate. We made our way to the Marriott Marquis where we were staying. It's a bit on the pricier side, but was worth the money as it sits right across from McCormicks Place, which is where my daughter's basketball tournament was taking place. The next day, we decided to do some exploring and walk around since our time there was revolved around the unpredictable schedule of the tournament. We strolled down Michigan Avenue, and the first thing I noticed about the city was that it was clean. No graffiti, no trash, no homeless encampments, which is a stark contrast from LA, where we are from. After a grocery run, we headed back to the hotel so I could explore McCormicks Place. It's the biggest convention center in North America. It has a square footage of 2.6 million and a cost of $2 billion to build. It's not only massive in square footage and its price tag, but the sheer height of the place makes you feel as though it was built for giants. Yep, I'm in McCormicks Place and I have no idea where I'm at. This place is massive. The Nike Tournament of Champions is like the Olympics of youth basketball. To get right to the nitty-gritty, it's one of the biggest annual youth basketball tournaments in the U.S. hosted in Chicago. It draws top-tier teams from all over, all ready to battle it out for the ultimate bragging rights. We're talking hundreds of teams, sometimes over 500, and countless games spread out over several days. It's basically a basketball marathon with sneakers squeaking like a chorus of enthusiastic mice. For the next 3 days, my daughter had back-to-back games, 2 games each day. I learned quite a bit about the tournament. For one, it's really loud. I put earplugs in to muffle the sound. The mixture of constant whistle blowing, shoe screeching, and overly eager parents screaming was a bit much for my otherwise quiet brain. So this is the last day of our Chicago trip, and we're gonna fly back home on standby again. And Alaska Airlines just had an IT outage last night, so we'll see how that goes. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully we can get home tonight. I'm going to see if I can make my way to the lake. Let's go on a little adventure. By this time in our trip, my view of Chicago went from negative to positive, and as I was walking along the edge of Michigan Lake, I reminded myself never to believe what anyone says about a city until you've been there to experience it yourself. For a long time, through the filter of politics, I was constantly hearing negative things about Chicago and its South Side. No city is perfect, and I have yet to explore Chicago even further in the near future. By the time I got back from the lake, it was time for us to head to the hallways of O'Hare Airport. We decided to take a flight to San Francisco instead of Seattle for our connecting flight because Seattle's airport was most likely chaotic with all the delayed flights from the IT outage. As we were waiting to board our flight, we sat next to a group of teenage boys who were going home from the tournament as well. When it was time for them to board their flight, they got up and left all their trash behind without any consideration whatsoever for their surroundings, and none of the attending adults paid any attention. As a teenager growing up in the 90s, my mother would not have tolerated that. The flight to San Francisco was relaxing. I enjoy flying during the evening as there is a much calmer vibe in the cabin. I worked on my art and tried to get some sleep before we landed at 12:30 a.m. California time. Our next flight home wasn't until 8:30 a.m., so we decided to just sleep at the airport, which I had never done before, and was excited for the opportunity, and San Francisco Airport was the perfect airport to do just that, as it was newly renovated with wide open space and couches we could sleep on. After about 3 hours of surface level sleep, we woke up and we were super exhausted. It was time for us to go home. We enjoyed this trip, and we learned a lot about the tournament, and we came to realize Chicago has a beauty of its own, except in the winter. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.